Welcome to Something to Talk About, a lively hour of open discussion covering, well, anything and everything. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, husband, father, and military veteran, and Vaughn Loick, wife, mother, and best-selling author. Now, Something to Talk About. Stuart and Vaughn.
Well, it's another session of Something to Talk About, but I'm still Stuart, but she's not Vaughn.
Nope.
What?
Nope, she isn't.
We got Lauren in the studio as co-host again on Something to Talk About because Vaughn is out teaching our little kiddos.
And that's important.
That is very, very important, and we fully endorse it. So
I give her a lot of credit. I'm
Yep.
not sure. I always wanted to be a teacher, but I'm not sure I could have handled it properly.
And also, I think that as a teacher to go to that class, that same class every day,
Right.
have its certain benefits. But to be a substitute teacher, and maybe you're at this school one time, and next week you're at a different school, that's a little more challenging, and it takes a special person.
Yeah, I have to ask her if the kids, get on her nerves, or if they take advantage of her being a substitute teacher.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good question to ask.
Yeah.
I would figure that if the kids show up and all of a sudden there's a substitute teacher, they figure, hey, we can get away with something
The
today.
little ones don't mind it, but it's
Yeah.
maybe the middle school and high schoolers. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if the kids, I'm not real wild about that teacher anyway.
Liam loved the substitute teacher that I don't even think it was in his class. But he happened to see the substitute teacher in another class, and she loved his hair.
Yeah.
So he was thrilled.
Yeah, our grandson's hair is a little like Kramer on Seinfeld.
Got gorgeous curls.
Just curls that go
Gorgeous
everywhere.
Yeah. And
Maybe I should.
he said she made up a song about his curls.
About his curls. She made up
This
his
must
song.
have been some substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
loved
may
her.
want to find out where she's teaching next year and follow her.
Anywho.
Just
Just us.
Yep, it's us again. But we get along together, I think, don't we? Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yep.
Hey, you're always going to have those days. But no, ours are few and far between.
That's right. And the show is something to talk about, and sometimes we talk serious. Sometimes it's not so serious. In fact, I guess I probably prefer more the upbeat, funny, off the cuff kind of shows, rather than something that's structured. But we have, and we will continue from time to time, invite guests in to talk about a particular subject, because I think that's important, because that is something to talk about and something to share, and we've done it in the past. Last week, in fact, we had a young lady from the Carter Blood Bank clinics here in
that was very interesting.
Talking about the need for giving blood.
Yeah, because we're good, and you and Vaughn are good, but there's a point to where you need a little bit more direction and somebody that's been doing it.
Well, and you're also a good agent, because sometimes you'll say, you know what, you guys should invite this person to be on your show.
Oh,
or
me? Oh, me.
Or somebody that would be a good someone you should know for the other show that we do on Friday mornings. So
I try.
You're a good agent.
I try.
I'm going to double your salary.
How good of you.
But what we started talking about, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
We can't speak for all of our listeners, but as far as I think the two of us are concerned, is we've had it up to our chins in the current news that you turn on the TV.
Political climate.
And no matter how you feel about this impeachment trial and all, when you turn on the television, sometimes you just want to be entertained. You just want to relax. You want to get away from the trials and tribulations of the day. And when you turn from channel to channel to channel, and it's like everybody is being preempted because of this, I don't want to take anything away from it. It is part of our political process. It is part of how our government works, and it's important to follow what's going on, because it does have long-term ramifications for our future.
However,
However, there is other news out there.
Yes. Very important.
And I have often said that even though there are some really positive news stories out there, they usually get in the newspaper, they get pushed back to page 80 or so because they don't get the headlines. And
Right.
just like when you turn on any news channel, you hear those two words, breaking news. Everything is breaking news. You know, years ago when it was breaking news, it was because there was some kind of a disaster or something that was really important to preempt, break into the show to let you know that there was a major accident here. There was an earthquake, something that was breaking news. Now, every newscast starts off with breaking news.
But we're not doing breaking news today, are we?
We decided that there is something that is not breaking news. You know, it's still news, and it's important, but it's not breaking news. So today we're going to share with you the other side of the newspaper, the other channel on the news station.
Some funny, but some just basic.
Yeah.
Did you know? Type of thing. FYI.
Yes. And we have our trusty producer here with us, Megan Diane, and we may throw a question or two at her also for her input. We don't have the soundboard anymore, do we, Megan? That thing where where you had the clapping and
the
all.
laughing.
Do we have something that goes for news?
She'll check it out and let us know.
Oh shit. Look and see if we got any of that stuff. But I'm going to start off with a thing with a news story that I think some people had heard about on the regular news, but Lauren and I actually experienced this.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, when we lived in South Florida, we actually experienced this. But you may have heard about the falling iguanas. And in Florida, that the temperatures dropped dramatically over the last week or so, and iguanas don't do well with extreme cold weather, so they had
Megan's playing.
frozen. It's got to play
Is it going to play the whole?
That's the Olympic thing. But we'll find one of those buttons that it sounds like a ticker.
Yeah.
But anyway, when the temperatures drop into the 30s in southern Florida, the iguanas who normally live up in the trees, and by the way, the iguanas are not indigenous to the United States.
No,
they were brought over here from, I think, South America many years ago.
Correct.
And they don't do well living here, and they really have no purpose in life for being here. But they are. And they live up in the trees, and the temperatures drop into the 30s, and they freeze.
And they literally drop.
They either freeze to death or they just freeze temporarily.
They can, yeah.
And when they freeze solid, they fall out of the trees. So they've issued this alert to people that are down in the Florida Keys and in South Florida and Central Florida, to, while you're walking, not only look down at the sidewalk to what's there, but also look up into the trees for falling iguanas.
It's true, they do.
And when we lived down there and we had our shop, every once in a while you would go to the store in the morning and there would be iguana bodies
just laying
in the parking lot.
And then as it got warmer, the sun would
revive them,
warm them.
And sometimes, some would get up and scurry away, and others, they were gone. And so you'd say a little prayer and get out a plastic garbage bag and lift them by the tip of their tail and drop them into the bag.
That was funny.
And they'd go into the big iguana tree in the sky.
Yeah, I forgot about that happening. But, they had cold temperatures. It was down to 30.
Yeah. Yeah,
in Miami.
But the National Weather Service actually issued an advisory to watch out
Hey,
for
this is
falling
news.
iguanas.
This is news.
This
folks.
this is real news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Impeachment trials and
this
and
is much
problems,
more important.
the world gathering in Davos, Switzerland,
Because
and all that's
I must say, my friends that are just very animal lovers, very much animal lovers, I'm sorry, I see nothing gorgeous about the iguanas.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry to say that, but
well, two things: they are colorful,
they can be colorful, yes.
and that's why you don't always see them in the trees.
Correct.
Is because
They blend
they're like
in.
chameleons. They will blend in.
But when they suction to your patio doors and you can't get out
Yes, yeah,
because they're suctioned down there, and nothing will take them off except
you-
possibly shooting. No, not even if you bang on the window. We shot them with water from the hose.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, they take a drink and
Yeah,
then they come back later
I
because they say,
know. Oh,
I'm thirsty, and that lady down the street has got a nice hose, so and she'll give me some water.
and they lay by the pool when it was warm. They loved the
And
sun.
we had picture windows in our boutique. Down every once in a while,
Oh.
they would walk in the front of the store. We had a little garden in the front of the store, and then this big ceiling to floor window right by the door where you entered.
Yes.
And they would come over to the door, and they would just they would see their reflection in the
Yeah,
glass,
They just thought that was
and walk
So
back and
cool.
forth. They were
yeah. But they're really afraid of you.
well,
I mean, when
yeah.
you approach, they do run away.
Yeah.
But it's a scary sight. Anyway,
so
I'm sorry. I hope we didn't lose too
so
many of them.
well,
in that
no.
freeze.
But for those that are listening from Florida right now, make sure to look up because we don't
Look up, look down, look left, look right.
That's right, because we
You
don't
don't
want
know.
anybody
You
to
don't
get hit in the
You
head
know.
by a falling frozen iguana.
Well, mine isn't that exciting.
Oh,
It's
they're all exciting.
Well, this is something that us seniors, really need. Youth teaching tech to seniors fosters generational connections. Right? Senior citizens who don't keep up with technology, us, are at risk of social isolation. Did you know we're at risk of social isolation?
Yeah, it's easy for you to say.
I know, I can't say it. A New Mexico nonprofit pairs tech-savvy youth with seniors, and both generations benefit from the human connection. How come they don't? We should take some of the kids from high school and have days where you meet at the Y or you meet at the library. And you can ask even seniors, even middle school kids, a grandson who's 9, going to be 10, he can look at our phones and tell us what the problem is.
Yep.
But phones, computers, how do you do this? How do you do that? That
Well,
would be something that the schools should promote.
Or you spend lots of bucks and have the Geek Squad come out and take care of it.
Oh, it's lots of bucks.
Yeah,
It's
and they've made a
lots.
business out of it.
Yes,
but,
they have. But there are times where
generally-
just little simple things we don't know.
Yeah, well, those
So I thought that was interesting.
it is interesting.
It's needed. It's needed in all communities, I think.
See, now that would be a good idea for the moms and dads and all that are listening to the show. If you've got a very talented middle schooler or high schooler that knows how to do these apps and stuff like that, they could start a little business
Yeah.
on the side, pick up some spending money, and all by helping senior citizens.
Well, it's supposed to be volunteer, but yes, they could.
Well,
you could
but volunteer for for tips. This is no charge for the service, but we'll put a little tip jar there just in case.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good story.
I thought so.
You
The
got-
Women's
you
March. You don't hear about the Women's March too much anymore because
No.
they do have it yearly.
The
But
mi-
it's the fourth year that they've done it.
Is that the million?
No, that's
March?
the Million Man March. No, this was just a women's. After, what was the last election? 2016.
16?
Yeah, they started a women's march, and it drew a smaller crowd. that's what happens.
Every year it kind of
Yeah,
loses
it's
except
importance.
when it
It's too
probably
bad.
gets to the 5th anniversary
Yeah.
or so, then that might change things around
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay, what you got?
What do I got? Okay. This is
A funny one?
No, but this is interesting because you were talking about apps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll read this one. An app is under investigation for misleading motorists headed to Atlantic City's Borgata Hotel and Casino in New Jersey's Pine Barrens instead. Okay, what this is the Jackson Township Police posted on Facebook that officers in recent weeks have had to help motorists who followed the directions to the casino,
Right.
but it actually sent them to Collier's Mills Wildlife Management Area, where the people ended up getting stuck on unpaved roads.
Oh my gosh! I wonder what.
So the app sent
That's
them
awful.
out into the country, and they're thinking, "Where is this casino? Are we getting close?" And all of a sudden, their cars
there's-
get stuck in the mud.
Oh, that's awful.
And Siri or something is saying something
She's
about
lost.
yes, make a legal
Oh,
U-turn.
God.
You're going the wrong way. But actually,
Yeah.
they're still trying to figure out what caused the app to have a glitch and send people in the wrong direction.
Wow. Yeah. That's not. No, that's not good. Definitely not good.
Yep. So
This is awful. Did you hear about
an awful one.
Amtrak asked two people who use wheelchairs to pay $25,000 for a ride on the Amtrak train. It usually costs $16 to take Amtrak from Chicago to Bloomington, Illinois. That's southwest, I think, of Chicago.
Yeah.
The company defended the $25,000 cost for the extra wheelchair users, saying it reflects a new policy.
Whoa.
But then,
Americans for Disability.
yeah, but then they did get a lot of feedback. And they reversed it.
Wow.
They reversed it, and it's now free. They can ride free.
So it's kind of like
They went
what
from
goes
20
on in our regular news, where somebody says something and then they backtrack it.
Yes.
They take it back.
They went from 25,000 to Zippo. Nothing.
Oh, not even the $16 that they
no.
normally charge.
I mean, whoa. Can you? Makes no sense.
I wonder what their justification was for trying to charge somebody
Come on, give me a break.
$25,000 to go from Chicago. I guess they figured if they can get one crazy person
but
in a wheelchair to pay $25,000, that'll cover their losses.
That's awful. I mean, I can't even imagine trying to ask people for that amount of money.
Yes.
Even $1,000.
Yes.
I mean,
One person gets on and they say, "Yeah, that'll be $16, please," and then the other
Okay,
guy gets on in a wheelchair.
25,000.
25,000, please, and we'll take your credit card.
Amazing. Amazing. Next. I couldn't believe that one. Jeez.
Okay, so this is a dog that gave birth to a green puppy. A what? It says dog gives birth to green puppy. Family names him Hulk.
Oh.
The experts suspect that liquid from inside the mother's stomach, and not gamma rays, which some
Yeah.
people thought it was,
Yeah.
is what turned the white pup's fur temporarily green.
Oh my gosh.
This was in Hayward County. Where is this? Good.
You don't know where it is.
I don't remember, but gave 8 puppies. Number 4 came out green, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8 were all white.
What color green? Light green, dark green?
It said everything was going smoothly until the 4th. Let me see, the 4th puppy. Experts said there's a normal explanation for the puppy's coloration, and no, he wasn't exposed to any gamma rays. and they said it was liquid. This was at the Junaluska Animal Hospital in Waynesville.
Waynesville.
Waynesville, where?
It's somewhere.
But they said regular baths and daily licks from Mama, who was named Gypsy, are expected to fade Hulk's green hue in the next few weeks.
I would like an update on that.
Okay, we'll get our reporters out there
I wonder if
to find out what's going on.
could they take. Well, I guess they really couldn't take color, hair color, and dye it.
What in the mother's stomach?
No,
And-
now.
Well, she's licking the fur, and of course
That's going to take forever.
the puppy's going to shed too, and it'll probably shed the green fur. But no, we will send our reporters out, and we'll have to follow
I
up
really
on
need
that
to know that.
on that story, because that's an extremely important story.
Green. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I have
Go.
one about ducks.
Ducks.
The headline is "The Ducks Have Won. French court says they may keep on quacking."
Well, and-
The neighbors in Sustens, 430 miles southwest of Paris, have filed a complaint about the quacking. Too much quacking and too noisy. The neighbor's lawyer said the noise exceeded permissible levels and prevented the plaintiff from enjoying their garden or sleeping in their house with the windows open. The neighbor has asked for immediate steps to reduce the noise and for 3,500 euros in damages. I don't know what that is, though. So they had to go to court, naturally.
now,
the
of course, you said that they were bothered because of
The noise, the quacking. It's too quack.
with their windows open.
They should close the
So-
windows.
Yeah, so that's one solution.
But-
Close your windows.
But they ruled
Yes.
that the noise from the flock of around 60 ducks and geese kept by a retired farmer, Dominique Duth, in the foothills of the Pyrenees was within acceptable limits. The ducks have won, Duth told Reuters after the court decision. I'm very happy because I don't want to slaughter my ducks.
Yay for the ducks.
Yay for the ducks. But that is a lot of ducks.
Yeah, that's a lot of. You know
And
what?
it's a messy, ducks can be very messy.
Yeah. Well, that kind of reminds
Ooh.
me too of when we lived in South Florida, because
Oh.
there were a lot of people that kept chickens and roosters
Yes.
in their yards. And
Right.
every
Oh,
morning
man.
at sunrise,
Oh,
you
4:30
would
a.m.,
hear
5.
roosters
Oh,
crowing.
it was not good.
And it didn't matter if you had all your windows open or closed, and you could hear that. And I think there were some ordinances that said it was legal to have chickens and roosters.
And I don't understand that because this is we were like in a city
Yeah.
or a very crowded suburb of Miami. And I didn't understand the houses are close together, so we're not talking farm area.
No, I mean
This was very much citified.
yeah.
So I didn't
But
get
a lot
that
of it
one.
was in the suburban areas, and maybe they didn't have rules on the books as far as what definition
I
there was
just-
for a pet. They said, "Well, I have pet chickens and roosters."
I just think that's really cruel to an animal that's used to roaming around.
Right.
And then to keep them in a small backyard, I don't
And
get
going
it.
along with that one,
I don't
there's
get it.
just an article about the airlines are starting to define a little bit more as to what an
Oh,
emotional
yes, it was.
support animal and what a service animal
well, they were
is.
saying roosters were coming on. They were saying pigs.
Pigs, ponies.
I'm
Small,
sorry, I don't get
small
that.
miniature ponies.
Well, who would allow
that-
that on a plane, on a commercial airline?
Somebody apparently had the documentation that showed that their small pet pony was an emotional support animal. And look, that
But there's a point.
there's a point,
How do they
except
fit
if
in
that
the
little
plane?
miniature, little miniature pony could have been the same size as a Labrador Retriever, seeing eye dog.
Maybe.
whatever the rules are, there's always somebody that's out there
I
trying
know.
to get
I know,
around it.
I know. So it's going to make it more difficult
Yes.
for those of us that have true security animals.
Well, yeah, that's what
Smaller
they said. They're
security
trying to
animals.
redefine it, saying that there's going to be limitations on emotional support animals,
Yeah.
and they want to just allow registered service animals.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they were talking about is, okay, you can bring your emotional support animal with you, but you're going to have to pay for the seat next to you.
Well, that's not unusual. I mean, now I know musicians that have large instruments, and they don't
Cello
want
players.
them. Yes, they don't want them in baggage. They want
and they can't put them in the overhead.
They want them with them, next to them, so they have to pay for that seat.
Yep.
That I get.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
okay.
Next.
All right. Now, Yamaha has now just warned musicians about being very, very careful about their instrument cases, because that Chinese, the Chinese former Nissan boss, that Carlos Ghosn,
Oh yeah.
who fled Japan,
Yes.
concealed in a music case.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, there's other people saying, hey, I can get from point A to point B if I just hide in a music case. And so they are finding that there's some people that are willing to sell their music cases to people that want to fly from here to Europe. And so Yamaha has now started issuing warnings that this music case is not for personal transportation, only for the instrument that it was meant for.
Isn't that unbelievable?
I mean, this is making the
is-
news, folks.
Well, it's making the news, but I just can't believe you have to warn people not to use their cases like that.
Well,
I just
that's the news.
whoa. What was that?
What was that one?
Sound like a duck.
Beep,
Sick duck.
beep, beep. That should have gone with your duck joke.
Okay, what about an Italian restaurant in Australia has made a margarita pizza for firefighters battling bushfires? They wanted to do something for the firefighters that have worked so long and hard. They made a 338-foot long margarita pizza.
How long?
338 feet.
338 feet. One
Yeah.
long pizza.
One long pizza. I guess they're all supposed to take a piece and
Holy
okay.
cow!
That's pretty long. How do they cook that? I don't understand
well,
that.
it was either oven roasted or
How in
it. Well, if there's forest fires going on, they probably could have just put it
out there on the
put it out there along the
I
edge of
don't
the
think they
fire
did
and
that. I
and
don't
cook their
think
pizza. 138.
330.
That's a lot of pizza.
So
I can't
what do
imagine.
you
But
have?
you want to? But the other side of that is what a great way to say thank you
Yeah.
to all of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
first responders and firefighters that are out there battling. That's the statistics that are coming out of Australia from these fires are absolutely mind-boggling. Like 500 million animals
Yes.
have
Terrible.
perished.
Horrible.
And I don't care if you say, well,
Horrible.
yeah, some of those might have been bugs but
of
write
them-
the number down on a piece of paper. 500 million.
I can't conceive of it.
Is it million or billion? I now I don't even remember. But that loss of life,
Yeah.
not so much human life, but just wildlife.
It keeps the ecosystem going.
And
now
the koala bear population has been reduced.
Absolutely.
And that's the symbol of Australia. Did you know that Australia is the only country in the world that has koala bears?
Yes, I did know that.
That they only exist in Australia.
Are the fires out? I know they had a very big rain.
For the most part, I think they are. I think there's still a couple of residual fires that are still going on, but they got some rain, and that helped to contain.
Thank God.
But I mean, granted that a very, very large portion of Australia is outback. It's
Right.
not habited anyway. But
still,
that's why the fires spread so quickly, and they've determined that the fires were probably spread by humans.
They can't be intentionally. Oh, from a
somebody
cigarette.
flipped
something.
a cigarette or something,
Yeah.
and that could have started it.
So they never did find the person
I don't,
or persons.
I don't know, but
Well, what do you have with
but
the
at least some of
pizza?
those firefighters, got a slice of a
Yes.
300 and some.
Well, I hope they got more than
pizza.
that.
Yeah.
But what do you drink with your pizza?
Usually a soft drink, sometimes just
or
water
or
or tea or beer.
bingo.
Bingo.
Drink like a Mexican kingpin is the title to this news story.
Drink like a Mexican kingpin.
Yep.
Okay, what's that one about?
The daughter of El Chapo
Yeah, he's got a daughter.
has launched a beer
What?
called El Chapo, and it's in big letters. It's big black bold letters on white label.
El Chapo beer.
Yep. El Chapo beer.
Talk about profiting
Yep. Off of
off of your father who's sitting in prison probably for the rest of his life because he was
maybe he'll get out again.
well, if he gets out he'll probably escape again because he's
That's what I
escaped
mean.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And now that he finds out that his daughter's making El Chapo beer, he's going to probably either try to get out to get one or he's going to probably try and get delivered to his cell.
You know what? I'm sure. I am
That's
sure.
just-
That's somebody like that has a way around everything, and we'll get it.
Next time we're in a bar, I'm going to go, excuse me, I'll have a El Chapo.
Well,
on
maybe
tap.
in Mexico you'll find it. I really
Oh,
don't think you're going to
well,
find it.
I don't think I'm
Too much,
going to
yeah.
Mexico just to try and get an El Chapo beer.
Should I keep going,
Huh?
or are you got one?
Go for it,
Okay.
because you got lots of them.
Okay. Applications to become Japanese billionaire Yusaku Mizawa's, I think that's how you pronounce it,
Masaku
girlfriend
Ozawa.
have topped 20,000. Okay, all right. He wants to be the first private passenger on Elon Musk's SpaceX, on the rocket that's going up. So he's looking for somebody to be a life partner and to go with him on his moon voyage. And 20,000 girls
20,000 girls applied.
have applied and offered to be his life partner. They know nothing about him. They don't know him, and to go to the moon with him in Elon Musk's SpaceX.
Now, I've heard a couple of lines in my day, but
Hey.
excuse me, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Would you? How about you like to go to the moon with me?
Fly me to the
Fly,
moon.
yeah.
Perfect.
And let me play among the stars.
That's it. Hey,
Oh boy, oh boy. That is funny.
and I have to tell you about this one because this has to do with you and Megan,
Oh, okay.
because I know you guys like Spotify.
Okay. We do.
Spotify has made playlists and a podcast for dogs now, so that dogs can listen to these playlists and this podcast when they're all alone, when their owners have gone to work, whatever, gone shopping.
Spotify has a channel for that now?
Yes, 74% of UK pet owners play music for their animals.
Okay. Well,
So
we do
Spotify
that.
came up with this playlist and a podcast for dogs.
So as they do, it plays music, and then every so often it says, "Good dog, good dog. You're such a good dog."
I don't know about that. We need to check this out. We need to because
How much is that dog in the
No.
window?
we use Alexa and
Yes.
and we use the same 2 or 3
Right.
playlists.
Yeah, like Jim Brickman.
Yeah. Alexa,
Yes.
Play Jim
Brickman.
I'm Panda.
Yeah. And you know what? As soon as we say that, the dog knows that you're leaving and I'm not. But
No, that we're
see,
both.
I can see that on Spotify, and the theme song is "Who Let the Dogs Out." Woof, woof, woof.
Oh, yeah, it should. I don't know if that's on there. We're gonna have to check this out.
A channel for dogs.
Yeah. What could it be?
Yeah.
Is it
Megan
quiet music?
Megan and I will check that out, and we may have to feature that as one of the shows on our Monday music break.
I mean, seriously, is that like dog? Do they have dogs barking?
We'll have to tune in.
Seriously,
But it's a dog channel.
yeah, and a podcast. Do they have somebody? They have somebody talking to them
Well, that's what I'm saying.
or barking at them?
You're such a good dog. You're such a good dog. Lie down, take a nap.
I don't
Mommy and
know,
Daddy
it's
be right back.
Weird. Okay, what about brain freeze?
I've had it.
Literally, I don't wish it on you.
Well, I've had it.
A Russian firm is offering a path to immortality for a fee.
Sure, it's always for a fee.
Alexei, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this Russian
Okay,
name.
Alexei.
Yeah, Alexei. His 70-year-old mother passed away, and he paid to have her brain frozen and stored in the hope that breakthroughs in science will one day be able to bring her back to life and she will live a better life.
How old was she?
70. So maybe she died of cancer or who knows what.
And you're going to freeze her 70-year-old brain and bring it back so that hopefully she can
Come back and
fulfill her life to what?
come back
75
and yeah,
80?
I don't know. Would you do
Well,
that?
You know what? There
Would
was
you
talk with
consider wanting that?
cryogenics.
Yes.
There, ever since I was in college, there was talk that Walt Disney has been frozen since the 60s.
Really?
Yeah, and
That was a rumor?
Someplace he is. There, some people think the other people have done that instead of just dying. They've been frozen
That must be a rumor.
to
I
come
can't
back.
imagine.
I
mean, but you come back and all your family is gone?
Yeah,
or what happens? I mean, your family is gone. They've given instructions to this hospital or to this company to defrost you, basically.
Yeah, so you,
but maybe
you
they
come
forget
back.
and you never do come back. How do you know?
So 30 years later, you come back, and they defrost you, and you're 70 years old, and now they have gotten some kind of a pill or medication or something to cure whatever you had. And what are you going to do? Sit down now with your 60-year-old children? Or
No, your children have really died because they've probably
they've
gone.
aged another 30
or
years
they
too.
could have died. I'm just saying, how do you know that they haven't taken the money and they've forgotten to
They just
defrost you?
They just leave you as an ice cube.
Yeah.
We don't know, because it's also possible that they freeze you, and then all the people that from the cryogenics lab and they're
gone.
gone now too. They passed away, and now they got.
It's very, very. I'm wondering about that.
That it is something to wonder about.
Okay.
Would you consider it if you had some kind of a terminal disease and they hadn't come up with a cure for it, to say, well, freeze me until you get a cure?
Well,
And
I mean,
if you came back, would you recognize any place?
I mean,
'Cause
that's
the whole world
thing.
would have changed.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, half of my friends, neighbors, or relatives could be up in space, living in space. I don't know.
That's a good thought too.
I mean,
They-
wouldn't have to
maybe
pay for a
they-
funeral.
Well, maybe they went to the moon with that guy and his
Life partner.
life partner on the moon.
I don't know. I mean, the cost of a funeral is very expensive these days, so you wouldn't have to pay for a funeral.
Well, but I wonder
Well,
what
that
the
you're paying for, for your
well,
paying
but
for the
yeah,
brain
the cost to freeze you and then maintain you. I'm
and
sure
can you
that
make
there's
installments?
yeah, and who's going to make the installments? Because eventually, all the people that that are in your family are probably going to pass away, and there's not going to be anybody around.
Well, let's talk about happier things.
Okay, we'll talk about. How about we talk about a father of 800 children.
Tell me no.
Fa-
That's
he-
got to be false story.
No,
Fake news.
his name is Diego, and he has fathered 800 children. He is a giant tortoise from Galapagos.
I knew there had to be something.
He was one of the last two males of his species
Really?
on the Galapagos Island. There were only two. However, since a captive breeding program began 50 years ago with a dozen females, some 2,000 baby tortoises have been brought back to the island. He's fathered 800 of them, and that's only 40% of the total that have come back. Now, that's got to be a lot of happy female tortoises out there, but
Or not.
They even put a picture of his winning smile.
That's funny.
But even though he is, how old is he? Did they say
yeah,
how old he is?
how old do they live till?
Oh, they live a long, long time. He spent 30 years at the San Diego Zoo, but he's being now. He fathered all these tortoises. Then they sent him to the San Diego Zoo, and he lived another 30 years there. Now he's going to spend the rest of his life back out on the Galapagos Islands.
He should, yeah.
And all, and even though he fathered 40% of all of those
Wow.
young tortoises, there's another two that have fathered the other 60%.
That's amazing. Do you have
But-
any desire to go to the Galapagos?
No, but I'd like to.
You'd like to meet this turtle?
Yeah, I mean, if I had my choice
Yes.
of when you die, what do you want to come back as? I think I might go for being a Galapagos tortoise. Because
I don't think so.
Uh,
All they do
Eric-
is they
Eric-
sit around and
Eric Clapton wrote a song called "Slow Hand." Boy, that must be sometime out there.
yeah, you are up there. Next.
Next, okay.
Next.
Now I don't know if you saw this one, but this is how your government dollars work.
Oh, I thought we weren't going to do political.
Well, but this is not on a national. Well, it is kind of a national.
Yeah. What?
The headline: Sin City
Oh,
changes its famous slogan.
really?
Yeah. You know what this famous slogan was? What happens
happens
here
Stays
here.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, they got together all of the city council and all of the city fathers. They had all these commissions looking into, was this still a viable slogan for Las Vegas? And they felt like that no, we need to change this. So they spent taxpayers' dollars in all kinds of meetings, in boardrooms and everything, to come up with a new phrase. The old phrase was, what happens here stays here.
Right.
The new phrase, what happens here only happens here.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Really?
This is
Your government at work.
This is your government at work to discuss this over a 6-month period. They discuss this back and forth.
That's pathetic.
So it's no longer what happens here stays here. What happens here only happens here.
Well, now you have something that you can really hang over your cousin's head.
Yeah, I got a cousin, and you know when they're going to premiere the new slogan
When?
this Sunday on the Grammy Awards.
The Grammy Awards that now are supposed to be
Fixed. Yeah, fixed and unfair and crooked. And
Oh, Lordy Lord.
but what happens there
Lordy Lord.
happens there. I can't believe that.
Jeez.
Yeah. Steve Hill, the president and CEO of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, after studying this for 6 months.
Remember the artist who put up a banana at Art Basel in Miami Beach?
Oh yeah, it sold for $20,000.
$120,000
banana.
I didn't realize that there was what they call performance artist who ate that banana. I don't think he bought it. I don't think he paid. Maybe he's the one that did pay the $120,000. That wasn't really clear in the
Well, if the art,
and what am I trying to
if
say?
the banana has
I have
been
a brain
eaten,
freeze.
then it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, this guy is from Georgia, the former Soviet Republic.
He's probably the one that bought the artwork.
And he said he does not regret what he did. So it's not like vandalism. It was art performance from me. And absolutely, I am not sorry. I call performance hungry artist. Yeah, I was hungry and I just eat it. Representatives of Art Basel were not immediately available to comment.
For comment.
The identity of the buyer was never disclosed by the gallery.
This is news,
First
folks.
of all,
this is
that
the
was
real
the
news.
stupidest thing I've ever heard. And this is a big art show.
It's
These
huge.
pieces are millions of dollars.
Yeah.
This is a big deal in Miami, in the art world.
Oh boy, oh boy. You know what? I just realized we never even paused for a break. You know, we're I think coming up on the end of the show.
No, we're not.
Already. Yeah. We're down to our last 3 minutes. So you got another hot one there to share?
I don't understand this one. They have started now the U.S. Census. You know, they're taking a U.S. Census this year.
Right.
They started in the Alaskan fishing village along the Bering Sea,
Where there's probably only 20 people anyway.
where the ground is frozen, and it says it makes it easier to reach far-flung communities in the winter when the ground is frozen. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I can just see the Census Bureau calling up and saying, we've selected you to take the census up in Berrien, Alaska. Find out how many people are up there and whatever.
Well, they're going to be coming here too. I mean, they're going everywhere in the United States.
Yeah, that's a national census that's taken, I think, every 20 years or something.
And did you know, how long do I have? Oh, not long.
You got to.
Tattoo removal programs to help former inmates wipe the slate clean. For people who have been incarcerated, head and neck tattoos are often a barrier to re-entering society and getting jobs. Some former inmates are removing their tattoos to help leave the past behind. I did not know that you could remove tattoos.
Yeah, but I think it has to be, you have to bleach out the skin somehow.
Yeah, I
to
think
get
it's
the ink
very
out.
painful
Yeah.
from what they went on to say. And then there was a Delta plane that dumped fuel on 4 elementary schools over L.A.
Yeah, that
Did you see that?
made the major news.
It did? I didn't see it.
And now the school system is going to file suit against the
oh
airline
my God, how awful. It was.
for dropping jet fuel down on the kids when they were out at recess or something.
That was awful.
I mean, you couldn't go
They
out
really
over
did
the
this?
water.
Yeah.
Go out over the water, because then the environmentalists would have said that you're polluting the water by dumping the fuel in the water.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's it. But that has been the other side of the news. That has been the news.
This is the important
that
news.
has been unfit to print.
I consider this the important news.
This was the
week,
important
of
news.
the week.
And now you can go out and spend the weekend by sharing this news with your family and friends, and let them know that you know the real news in this country. don't watch that other stuff. Except the other thing is to make sure you come right back here a week from now
Yes.
and join us
Are you still on?
for another session of something to talk about.
What are you going to talk about?
I don't know. I don't know how we could possibly follow up with anything bigger than what we just did. I mean,
I'm sure, knowing you will find something.
This was a huge show. But thank you to Megan Diane for producing this.
Thank you, Megan.
I hope we didn't put you to sleep. So, take care. Make it a good weekend and a good week ahead. And thanks for joining us for something to talk about.